Hello everybody, and welcome back to Collin's massive tutorial here on creating a low poly slash simple character. And what we've been doing is creating an Assassin's Creed character based off of a reference found on DeviantArt. It got like this. It looked really amazing, really caught my attention, and the person who this tutorial was mostly aimed at is quite a Assassin's Creed fan, but I shouldn't say that this tutorial was aimed at one person. I've always wanted to make a tutorial like this. The reason why I'm calling it Collin's Massive Blender Tutorial is kind of because Peter's Massive Blender Tutorial was something that really got me into Blender. It really helped me out a lot, and I'm really glad that I had found it. And whereas he is inactive on YouTube nowadays, and I haven't seen his work anywhere else, I feel kind of bad that I never got to see it anywhere. And so, and because he's unresponsive and doesn't make any other videos, I don't know where he went or anything, but yeah. His tutorials included a much older version of Blender, which the menus were all completely different, so to some people who aren't exactly as sure about Blender as I was at the time, it may be more difficult for them to watch that video than this one, because that one had different menus than Blender has now. And so, about ready to get back into it here. I want to see why my music stopped. I put the song on repeat and it got stuck, because my YouTube is lame. So, last where I left you off, we had been trying to texture the face here. So I removed the eyes, but I left the mouth. And you'll notice down here in my shape keys, I added a couple shape keys. Mouth open, that opens and closes the mouth. We have his happy on the right side, and his happy on the left side. And you can use these in conjunction with each other, so I could turn on both happies if I wanted, or even add the mouth open at the same time. And by animating this, I can't really slide the slider back and forth fast enough while I'm talking, but while animating it, you could use that to give a simple mouth movement, just to help the effect of him talking. Let's see, other things that I did go ahead and keep messing with the face texture. It is much better than what I had before. I'll bring up what I made in Photoshop today. So here we have what I did last time. I made the eyes a little bit bigger, and I also added in a gradient above the eyes. It's not behind it like last time, and I made it in about the same shape as his hood. And so this gave a very nice effect, actually, to making it so that even though his hood isn't far from his face right here, this distance here, if the sun was coming down on him, it wouldn't really, I don't know, maybe it's further than I was imagining, but check out the render. I think it looks very nice. Very cool. I was trying to mess around to see if shape keys could mess with the actual UV textures to make them blink, but seems that I couldn't figure that out. Sorry about that. I think I recolored the blades here. I think I've had to do that a few times, and I've also noticed that several times now I've had to redo the shape keys on those. And one more thing before we begin. I want to grab and pull that back a little bit. That was a little weird in the render, so it's still a little weird. What are we doing? Maybe if I pull this one out, that will help. Nope. Never mind. I'm going to undo those changes and go to my bases and change them, because I was not in the bases menu. There we go. Much better. Pull this one out. Turn on my screencast keys. That'd probably help you all, wouldn't it? Go ahead and save. And alright, so what I was just mentioning is, back when I was explaining the mirror modifier to you, I said that there is one that you will be using all the time, which is your subdivision surface. I thought I would go ahead and show you what that would do to this completed model here, Right now he's low poly, and I could even show you by changing his shading to flat that he is very low poly. Overall he has 858 faces, which sounds like a lot, but compared to some other things, it's not so bad. But if you aren't a big fan of the sort of sharpness to his mesh, you can add a subdivision surface, and it'll make it more round like this. You can make it go up and down, but the higher you go, the much slower your computer will go. So I usually just keep that one, and you'll see everything has rounded out. His head is rounded out, looks really nice. His hood looks pretty nice, although this part here is not as sharp anymore. I'm even lagging to where I'm not doing so well on that brush, like what I did at the top of the hood. Those are kind of neat, although the knives are no longer sharp. That's definitely one thing to note. And so it's up to you if you want to do that. If you wanted to do it and keep the knives sharp, there's probably quite a few different ways to do that, so it's hard to choose what's best. So anyway, I'm going to keep it off for speed's sake and just because I like this chibi look. All day today I've been looking a lot at texturing tutorials and haven't really been finding too much. So I guess I'll kind of leave it as it is, and we can get started with the rigging section of this tutorial, which I have been very excited to get started on today. I'm not very good at recording tutorials while people are up and about in my house, so I had to wait till later at night, and I've been very excited to do it. What I've also done without recording is I've taken this mesh and duplicated it and put it into separate layers to make other people. You can kind of see here. They're all the same thing, but just different parts of them are adjusted. So you have your main character, Ezio. You have sort of a side character that you might see walking around. Another side character you might see him talking to. I chose this guy as the villain. There might be one or two of him. And then the like ultra background character that is just almost a solid color. And there'll be a lot of these around, but kind of off in the back. And if you want to do this, you just got to know that when you duplicate it, you have to redo the materials. Or else, if I had the same material, say, let's see, if I go back to Ezio, his hair is black, and if I duplicated him and then tried to change the hair texture, it would also change it on Ezio because it's the same material. It's not a new material. I think that's the texture when I meant material. But anyway, when you duplicate them like this also, I recommend duplicating them before rigging, and unfortunately you will have to rig them as well, which would be good practice, but we're going to be doing forward kinematics rigs. I can explain what that means a little bit later. And the reason why I can't really show you inverse kinematic rigs is because I'm still learning them myself. They're a bit more complicated. And so, let's go ahead and jump right in, now that I'm done telling you a small life story or something that was actually quite long, and I apologize for it. Still can't get enough looking at this character, he's amazing. Let's go ahead and get started. So what I will do is, with the cursor at the center down here, where the origin point is, by hitting Shift-C or Shift-S and then cursor to center, I'm going to hit Shift-A and add in a armature and a single bone. And then with the single bone selected, I'm going to go up here to this box, and this, let's see, what is this called? This is the object panel. I had it right, but I second guessed myself. And under the display, I'm going to hit X-ray. That makes it so that if the bone goes inside of part of the mesh, we can see it on the outside. So this is the main bone. I think the best thing to do with it, actually let's name it first, let's see. Still under the object panel, I'm going to name this Ezio underscore rig, or let's put armature. That'll do. And then go into edit mode, and I'm going to select the entire bone, and I'm going to press period to put the row or the pivot points at the center there. Hit RX90. This here will be our, if I go into this bone panel, I can name it. This is the base bone, or the actual technical term is the root bone. So I'll name that root, and then duplicate it with a Shift D, RX minus 90 to get it back up, and we'll bring it up to his about his belt line where we started forming the mesh. See, this bone here is going to be his, let's call this spine, and comma to bring that back up here, and we are going to let's see, you can choose between if you want 2 or 3 bones here. I think I'm going to go with 2 to make things easier in the end. So I bring this up to about midway, extrude it up along the z-axis to about the base of the neck, and then this bone will be the ribs. And then here I'm going to extrude a bone out here, and a bone out this direction. I'm going to click this one and say, let's see, shoulder. I was thinking of the clavicle. Shoulder.L, and then on this side, shoulder.R, and I like to use capitals when I use dots for names. And over here in the toolbar, by pressing T, under armature options, I'm going to hit X-axis mirror. So now it understands that things with a .L and a .R with the same name are to be mirrored. So I can grab this one over here now, and look back at my mesh here. It's not mirroring this. Did I spell something wrong? I put shoulder. E-R. There we go. And you can see now they move at the same time. Bring it up to, see, these chibis for the shoulders aren't very big. Bring it up to there. And then bring the first part of the arm to about here. And then bring it to the wrist. Go ahead and name these bones. This will be arm.L and forearm.L, and on this side, arm.R. I think there's a flip names option, but I don't want to mess with that. Forearm.R. This is case sensitive, by the way. And then for the hand, actually I'm going to grab the elbow and bring it back a bit. And then, let's see, maybe bring that one back, this one forward a bit. Like that. And maybe, let's see, where's his neck at? That one's questionable. I'm not going to move that one. Okay, so as far as the hand goes, let's see. I will bring out one here, and then going to take this and call it hand.L. I'm going to duplicate it for the fingers. I'm going to scale it down. Let's see if I hit Shift R, I think, nope. Control R. Yeah, that'll rotate it. I think a lot of these bones need rotating, actually. So let's see, Control R, just a little bit this way. Control R, just a bit that way. Control R, like that. If I go into wireframe, I was sure that we added some loops on the fingers. Did I do that? Yeah, they're right there. Okay. They just aren't showing up. My music stopped again. Bring this out just a little bit, and then extrude it to the top part. Gotta rotate this one now. Control R. And so this is finger 1.L, finger 1. See, wow, I didn't think about that. Let's do digit 1.L, and then duplicate this here. Maybe bring these out just a bit. And your ring finger is the same as this one, so I'm going to duplicate that. And the saddest part is that I don't think this is being duplicated on the other side because I've been changing the names. That's fun. Duplicate this again, bring it to the pinky, bring it down. And you can rename them if you want. So this is 1, finger 2.L, finger 3.L, finger 4.L. You can see how this isn't fun, but it'll be helpful later on. Digit 2.L. Digit 3.L. Digit 4.L. Go ahead and save. Then I'll take my hand bone again, duplicate it. Mouse like this, scale it down. Put it at about the thumb there. And then call this thumb web.L. This will control how far out the thumb is sticking. And then extrude this to about here. And then extrude that out one more. Thumb 1.L. He only has one thumb on each hand. Thumb digit.L. So that is a completed hand. Quickly try to do the same over here, or maybe what I can do is select all of these. Besides the hand, hit Shift D, SX minus 1. Actually, before I do that, we hit period SX minus 1. And so now they are over here, but you can see these lines are in weird places. I'm going to hit Alt P, clear parent. And then grab this bone here, Control P, keep offset. Now, let's see. Oops, let's not do it on those bones. Let's do it on just these here that aren't connected to anything. And then parent it to this one. Keep offset. I'm a little afraid on if that's going to work or not. I hit Control E, I don't know what that's doing. Control R, except just this one. Control R. I'm scaling around that pivot point there. That's confusing me. There we go. And I can test if this is going to be okay by going to object mode, going to pose mode. See if I rotate this. Aha! It is not okay. Back to... Oh, I hit tab and I went right back to that mode. Go ahead and parent these second digits here. Keep offset, and then this extra thumb one. Keep offset. So now if I rotate this, they all move. Now that looks different than it does over here, which I'm worried about. If I rotate this hand, it doesn't move the fingers. So I actually have to go back to the original. Alt P, nothing came up in pose mode. Alt P, clear parents. Control P, it doesn't work. Grab these here. Nope, it didn't grab the thumb. Control P, keep offset. These second digits here. Control P, keep offset. Then that extra thumb one. Keep offset. So now the hands are done, as far as I know, since I made them very flat and straight. And I'm going to do the head next. I'm going to extrude the spine bone up to the base of the neck. I go to my third view. It's in the correct spot. And then I'm going to let's see. Remember some time ago I mentioned something about if you wanted to let this person be able to be decapitated, since this is Assassin's Creed and kind of brutal. If you want that to be an option, I would duplicate the neck bone for the head, but I don't want that to be an option particularly. So I'm just going to bring up this neck bone to the top of the head where that little ball up there, I think it's called the tail, is at the top of the hood, where I can easily grab it later on. Call this head, call this neck. I think these fingers over here are still a .L, which bugs me. Really don't want to come in here and name them. I hit, let's see, armature, bone settings, no. Let's try select, view, now. There's an option in here somewhere. Don't really mean to be wasting your time here, but there is something about flipping names. Auto name, switch direction, flip names, there it is. Yeah, that works. So I'm going to hit Control Z and then select all of these fingers here. And then go ahead and do that. So that was armature and flip names. So now they are all a .R instead of .L.001. This is hand.R. Looking good. Now I'm going to go back down here, extrude this out to about here, and do the same on this side. This will be hip.R, and then hip.L. Grab it just to make sure they do their thing. Then let's see. Notice that these are very far back. Pull them forward a bit. For some reason they don't appear to be connected, which is not that bad. Move these forward. And then I'm going to extrude this down to the knee. about there. Fold out this way, just above the boot. This is phi.L, and this is phi.R. I remember back when I was excited about doing this. Extrude this down to about the base of the foot, about like ankle region. And then this is shin.L, and this is shin.R. And now from this view here, I'm going to take that ankle one and bring it to, let's go ahead and go with the base of the foot, or the base of the toes. You could add in 2 joints here to make movable toes, but it's up to you. I think with a foot so small, we can probably get by without it. I mean, this bone here doesn't have to affect the boot very much, so that could just be the toes itself right now. It's up to you, we'll see how it goes. And then I'm going to bring one back. This is going to be the heel. So heel.L, and then this one is toes.L. And same over here, toes.L, and then heel.R. Gonna save. We are almost done. The last thing that we need to do is, because our character has a bit of a cape and a cloak, we may want to add in some bones for that. So if we hit Shift A, it has automatically given me another bone since I'm editing an armature. It knows that I can't really use anything else. This bone will be cloak, and we'll just leave it at cloak. I'm going to go to my third view, hit X, or rotate along the X, 180 degrees, bring it back to about here, maybe rotate it a bit, and you can see that I need to center it up first. So that'll control the center point of this cloak, and I'll grab a duplicate of this one, which becomes cloak.01. I'll do this as .L, rotate it this way a bit, put it about here, maybe pull it back a bit, grab this one, pull it this way, and then do the same for the other side. Control D, rotate it this way, pull it in to about there, pull this one to about there. So now we have 3 points on the cloak. Save again. Shift A to add one more bone. And I don't think we'll need too many now. So RX 180. This is cape. Rotate it sideways a bit and bring it over here. We'll just kind of put it at the midway point of his little cape. And make sure it's actually on his cape. So now we'll be able to move this section up and down, which, since this is connected, it'll just kind of flap at that one point. Okay. Erase that. And I believe we are done with that section of this. Yay! I'm going to go into object mode. And another thing that you can do now is, if you did go ahead and make separate characters, you can go back to Ezio, with some lag apparently, and in object mode you can duplicate that armature and hit M and move to the next layer, so that later on you can adjust the bones, such as getting rid of that one, That guy still has a cloak, so I'll leave those there. And yeah, just kind of duplicate it, move to layer 3. That is just fine. Duplicate, move to layer 4. And this guy has a cape, so you can add in another one when you get around to it. And this last guy does not have a cape, so I'll duplicate this one. And take it to the last. And then we'll, just get around to those later. Although, you may notice that when you duplicate them, the name of it under the object panel doesn't change, so just keep that in mind for organization's sake, because it is very important to have this named for later on in this tutorial. You want to name them according to the characters. And so back to Ezio, who we are mostly facing on here. Let's see, I'm going to go back in here. I noticed the toes are a bit off, but that's not that big of a deal, really. Just grab that. It's not mirrored for some reason. Guess I named the bones incorrectly. Let's see, toes.l, toes.l1, armature, foot name, Gudinofumi. I don't know how I got that name, because I typed it in myself. And we are ready to get on to actually making it so that this rig will move our character. One last thing that you can do is put a bone for his hair. Sounds weird. I did that one time. I can actually show you pretty quickly here. If I go back to my Mozilla that has so many tabs up and go to my YouTube. Video Manager. Back when I first started this, going off of Peter's massive Blender tutorial, I created this Blender Knight. I was very excited about it, and one thing that I did in the very beginning of this video is I had his hair move, and I did that with bones. It might be more effective. You can kind of see it here. His hair's moving. That cape wasn't very good. So this is back when I was a beginner, and I ended up doing a lot of things wrong. You can see parts of his skin inside were actually coming out, and yeah, it was good, but it at the same time wasn't very good. So a possible better thing to do is just move the hair with a shape key. It's up to you if you want to mess with weight painting.